Oh, hi. Okay, hi everyone. I am actually doing the video that I just recorded about an hour and about 10 p.m. tonight. I'm doing it over again just to see if I do a little better. Hopefully, I do. I'm a little tired right now. It's 11:41 p.m., June 27th, 2022. So here we go. I don't know if anybody's on here. If you are, just say something. It's okay. Or if you find me and like what I'm saying, excuse me, just say hi. Anyway, um, today I'm going to tell you how to analyze a deal property. Okay, and I'm going to tell you that in 5 steps. Okay, so listen very closely because the information I'm going to give is, and I don't know why my screen just turned red. But anyway, listen very closely because the information I'm going to give is very, very, very um, pertinent and very important. And it this is the information that either can make or break an offer, possibly. So listen up very closely. Okay, and 5 steps. Here are the 5 steps. I'm just first going to tell you the 5 steps, and then I'm going to go into a little bit of detail. Um, excuse me, and a little bit of detail um, after I name all the 5 steps. Okay. Um, and then first I want to give credit where credit is due. So Fortune Builders is the one where, I got my information from. They were actually probably the first big company business that sent me information on real estate back in, I want to say 2003-ish, 5-ish, 2005-ish maybe. But I think it was even before then, maybe, but definitely by 2005. Okay. Um, 2004-ish. But anyway, this is 2005, 2003. One of those, I can't remember. But anyway, first I'm going to name all the 5 steps. Then I'm going to go into a little bit of detail about each of them. And please don't look at my professionalism. I mean, Fortune Builders, you can go and look at the video yourself, fortunebuilders.com. And he's so professional. I'm not going to mention his name, even though I forgot his name, and that's a shame. But I'm going to go back and get it after this video or later on. Um, anyway, here are the 5 steps to analyzing a deal property. The first step is to filter the deals. Okay, so first you want to go and find some deals that may seem good to you, that look like good opportunities. These are opportunities. They look like ones most likely you'll be able to buy. So don't look at deals and waste your time on ones that you think you most likely won't buy or you won't be able to. Or, maybe you need funding and you don't think you'll be able to qualify for the funding. You might, but if you don't think so, then don't bother those and waste your time, because that's what you're going to do if you do. So just look for deals or opportunities that you think most likely will help you get the offer, get your offer accepted, and the ones that you'll most likely buy. Okay, and this is what he said in Fortune Builders. Look for the ones that um, you know, where the opportunities, the fruit, they're hanging low, and you see opportunity in them. And he didn't say this. Now I can't even remember. Like the lowest hanging fruit. Look for those opportunities where they're like, okay, you can see yourself doing those deals. They look like opportunities that are at your reach. They're not so out of reach. Okay. So even if you got like 100 deals or properties, the ones, if you got 50 of them the ones that seem too out of reach, don't waste your time with those. Just do the ones that seem within your reach, you know. Okay. Um, and excuse me, but I'm still learning. So I have to look at my notes and so just bear with me. I'm trying to see, is there anything I'm missing in number one? Because number one, find the property, filter all your deals. Okay, that's number one. And I didn't say find the property, but same thing. Find the property, filter the properties, the deals. Okay. Number two is what we like to call the discovery process. Okay, and this is what you're going to have to ask these things because you're not going to know. But after having looked on the property card, which is like, for instance, on Zillow, the property card is just all the information about the property, the square footage, the price, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, why it's a good property to invest in, or whatever they have, whether it has a garage, a yard, a carport, um, a swimming pool, or whether you can add on, whether it's room to add on extra things. So those are all the details. So all the things that you've seen online or wherever you've seen it, maybe you went in person and saw the place, you're going to have to either ask the agent or the seller, whichever one you're working with, what is motivating you? What is your motivation for even selling the property? And you're going to have to really kind of hit home with that, because some of them may say, just give you a vague answer and say, well, I just want to sell it. Well, that's everybody. But you're really going to have to get down to the nitty gritty and build a rapport with them and find out what is the actual motivation. Why are they really and truly selling this property? So it might be that they lost their job. It might be that someone, unfortunately, God forbid, they get sick. I really don't like to use that example. That's why I always put God forbid in there, because I really don't like to use that example. But unfortunately, it has happened in the past where people have gotten sick, and that was the reason why they were not able to maintain the property or the mortgage. Um, you know, Sometimes they have to take care of another relative in another city and they have to move abruptly. Divorce happens and, somebody's got to go, so they have to move abruptly. And so you just need to find these things out, and you need to build a rapport and have a little bit of sensitivity to the situation, because not everybody is moving not everybody is moving willingly. Not everybody is. I just heard something at the door. Sometimes people just do things just so you can look. So anyway, that's what that was. So just make sure when you're finding things out, to be a little bit sensitive about the situation. Some people are moving because they do want to. They have moved on, doing bigger and better things. Some people are not moving for those reasons, unfortunately. So you have to ask them, what is their reason, motivation, and get down to the nitty gritty, because they might say they don't want to talk about it. And then if they don't want to talk about it, you won't know. But but then what if they don't accept your offer? And that could be, you know, that could be a little important piece of information that you gather about the seller, of what's their motivation for leaving. That could be really important to the offer terms, or but anyway. So step 2 is um, the offer excuse me, the offer process. The discovery process, excuse me. The discovery process, finding out what is their motivation. They may have one, they may have several motivations, but find it out. And the only way you're going to do that is to ask. And let me also say this. This is something that you don't already know. Other things you've seen on website about the property, you may already know. You may have already spoken with the seller, so you already know some things. But now here's the discovery process in asking them, well, what is your, going to, get them to talk and explain to you or tell you why they're leaving their home, or why they have to leave their home. Okay. Um, in this, let me see. Okay, so that's number 2, something you don't already know about them, the discovery process. Okay, number 3 is actually going out to the property to analyze the deal and looking at the property. Now, some of you might be investing in another area other than where you live, like another city and state. So you might not be able to go physically and analyze the property, but it does help that wherever you're investing, if you know someone in that city or state, or to purposely invest in another city or state where you know someone, so that maybe they can go to the property for you and at least make sure it looks like what you thought it should look like, however that is, whether it's a fixer-upper or it's ready, move-in ready. um, you may want to invest in a city state where you know someone and trust them. And also, if someone is willing to do this for you, to actually go to a property to, quote, inspect it visually, you might want to pay them, I don't know, a couple $100 for doing that, maybe more. I don't know, but you work that out with them to just, go and they don't have to take professional pictures, but just so you know how it looks inside, how it looks on the outside, and just make sure that it is what you thought it is or thought it was, you know. Also, if this is a hot market for you, if after you do your market research and you find out that, oh, this is a hot market for me and I really would like to invest in this area, then maybe you can work something out with the person and keep paying them however much you pay with. Now, finder fees, are from anywhere from usually 5,000 on upwards to 10,000 is an average, upwards to 20 grand, depending on, the property price. And you want to leave some profit for the end buyer. So, but you can structure it around that. And out of it, you're going to be making these finder fees. If you're wholesaling, then, you can afford to pay somebody to do that for you. It's worth it, I think. There's also ways I believe you can do it virtually also. So that's another way. If you don't know someone in an area where you find is hot and you want to invest in and it interests you, then there's a way to do that virtually also. You just have to use the tools and find out how to do it. And that's another video. I'm not going to put all that on in this video. But anyway, so step 3 is to analyze the property, physically going out there. And also, this is also, I haven't gotten to step 4 yet. But in step 3, we use the software. We like to use a software called the Deal Analyzer. No, I'll tell you that piece of information maybe at the end. It just depends. But we like to use a software called the Deal Analyzer. So you can just plug in your numbers, and it spits out, what you're supposed to buy the deal for, the lowest or the highest possible price you should pay for the deal, what your profit is, what the after repair value is, and all this. You put in your repair amount, if any amount of repairs are due, then you put in that amount. And so it will analyze the deal for you as far as numbers are concerned. Still, visual analyzing is really good. It's good to actually see the property, but this is a software that you can use to make your numerical offer at least. Okay. And so, yeah, that's step 3, analyzing the deal. Step 4 is called the offer process. Okay. So you're going to call or submit or meet with the seller or either the agent, whichever one you're working with. Some people are working with an agent, some people are working with the seller. It just depends. But this is where you're going to ask either the seller or the agent, are there any other terms that you would like to see in the offer? Is there anything that you would like to see in the offer? And when I'm saying this, I'm meaning they may say they need moving assistance. They may say, they need a really fast closing. They need a fast inspection, all that. They even may say, hey, can we delay the closing? Because I have to wait until I get whatever they need to bring to the closing. They might say, can we delay it? So they may need that in the offer. But you need to ask them during this process, step 4, is there anything else that you would like to see in the offer? Are there any other things that I can offer you or put in the offer? And this is what is going to start separating you from other people. Okay. The other thing is, okay. And so in this step 2, excuse me, because I forgot to say this, in step 4, the offer process, you're going to put price aside. Okay, so you're going to say, putting price aside, other than price, what other things would you like to see in the offer? Basically, that's what you're going to be asking. Okay, and step 5 is the follow-up. If your offer does not get accepted, then this is going to become very important. And if I'm not mistaken, this may be the point where most people get a lot of their deals. I'm almost certain that most deals that a lot of us investors submit don't get accepted a lot the first time. Some of them do, but I'm almost certain that most of them may not get accepted the first time. But so step 5 is very important. It's very important that you follow up. and I'm terrible at this, but I'm going to get good at it. It's very important that you follow up. Now, before this step, you need to ask the seller or the agent. I believe it's the agent. You need to ask the agent two important things, so that when you do your follow up, you will have these dates. Number one, when is the security deposit due? Okay, that's the first thing you need to ask. When is the security deposit due? Number two, when is the buyer set to my live is acting up. When is number two? The second question you need to ask is, when is the buyer contingencies set to be removed? Okay, so those two things you have to ask to know those dates. So when your offer is accepted at step 5, um, say they say today was the day the offer was due, the 27th of June. But they didn't, so you call the agent, they didn't get their deposit in. So now your offer suddenly, even if it was a low offer to the agent or the seller, suddenly that offer looks good, because some money is better than no money, right? Right. So that's when the offer, that's why it's important to ask those two dates. So now this buyer doesn't have their deposit in. So now you can resubmit your offer. Okay. And then also when their contingencies, the buyer contingencies are set to be removed. That's another great um, uh, thing to know, so that you could, resubmit your offer that wasn't initially accepted. So, and I'm going to tell you this, but I'm not going to put it all on this video. Always stick with the formula that works for analyzing a deal. And I'm not going to say the formula on this um, video. That's another video. It might be a short one, though, but that's another video. But always stick with your formula. Don't deviate. Yeah, that's the word I was trying to think of a while back. Don't deviate from your formula and the way you do things, um, that are correct, just because the agent or the seller wants a higher price. You know, there's no compromising on price. Not really. There's no compromising, really. Just stick, especially when you start out, just stick to that formula, really. And especially because you might as well stick to your formula anyway, because if you need funding from one of the lenders, those numbers have to work for them to give you funding if you're needing funding from someone else, from a lender. And so you might as well stick to your formula. The seller might want, 20 more grand for it, but stick to your formula. It, it pays off in the end, sticking to your formula. Hiking the price up just because they want a higher price, as long as you've done your due diligence. And those two words I forgot to mention. Yeah, those are two very good words. Do your due diligence. Check things out, whose name the home is in. Make sure, if you're looking for a free and clear home, if that's what you want to look for, then you have to check out the title yourself. There's a way to do it yourself, or you can just call a title company and get a report from them. You may have to pay them. I don't know how much. You have to ask them. But, or you go to the courthouse and also get that information. Okay. But anyway, you stick to your formula. Don't deviate for anybody, because you will find that going up, hiking the price, you need to leave a little profit for the end buyer, unless you're the end buyer. But if you're not, you need to leave some adequate profit for that end retail buyer. You know, especially if you're the wholesaler and you're getting a finder's fee. So hiking prices up just because that's what the seller wants. All sellers want the highest price they can get. They want more than what the house is worth if they can get it, you know, some of us. But anyway, it's good to just stick to your formula. Okay. Um, so yeah. And so I'm going to go over the steps one more time. There are 5 steps, like I said. The first one is filtering out all the opportunity that you see, the property, the deals that are possibly deals to you. Filtering them out to the point where you think those are the ones that are most likely the ones that you will buy. Don't even bother the ones that, don't seem most likely um, to buy. Don't even bother those. You'll just waste time. Okay. So that's number one. Finding the property, filtering the property. The ones that make the most sense to you at the time. Okay. Number two, step two is, oh my God, the discovery process. And this is where you're going to ask, and this is going to be something, this is going to be a question. You're not going to ask what you already know about the property. You're going to ask them what is their motivation for selling the property. This is what you're trying to discover, some other things other than what the property card, which is all the information on the website, on sites like Zillow. Property card is just the information about a property. It is how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, how many square feet it is. Does it have a garage? Does it have a pool? Are you able to add on to something? Is it a fixer upper? Is it a ready to move in? That is the property card. That is what we call a property card. And I just learned that from it's a book, and it's wholesaling book. And so I won't give out all my little goodies. Maybe one time on another video. If I see somebody like this video. But anyway, so that's the second step, the discovery process. So it's you're trying to gather information that you don't already know, that that you haven't read about the property or the seller yet. So that's what you're trying to discover. What is their motivation for even moving? Some people might say they need moving assistance. And I'll tell you what the Fortune Builders, um, on his video, what he said was that there was a deal where they were before they got under contract, I believe, or before they closed. The person did need not moving assistance, but they needed a car, they needed the money to even get a car to even move. So they were able to put that money in escrow for them. And I believe it was before the closing, so that they could buy a car and have the vehicle to even move with. So that's what they needed. So if we can help people, that's what we're here to do. If you find it that you can maneuver your deal that way, then, it's always good to help and bend, and go beyond the call of duty. That's what we're supposed to do anyway. So if you can help in that way, then help, because that's what you discovered they needed. So if you can maneuver the deal and structure it that way, then do so. Okay, and so anyway, and you're also trying to find some people. Well, I'm not going to go into that. Number 3 is to analyze the property. Actually go out there, analyze the property. However you do that, if you're doing deals in other states and you know someone and you trust them, you can have them go out there and make sure the property exists in the same shape and form that you think it does. They don't have to take professional pictures, but some way to let you know that yes, the property is here, it's that address, it looks like this, and you can pay them. Like I said, you negotiate your price. You get in a finder's fee of at least, I'm assuming $5,000 on upwards to 20 grand. 10 grand is like right average. But depending on the deal, you have to leave room for profit at the end for the end buyer if you're wholesaling it. And so that is step 3. Step 4, again, is the offer process. So this is where you're going to ask them, are there any, is there anything you want to see in the offer that's not in the offer yet? How can I help you, basically? How can I help this offer stand out? What would you like to see in the offer? And if there's anything, believe me, they'll tell you. They might say things like a faster closing, a quick closing. They might say, hey, delay the closing so we can gather things we need. They might say moving assistance. They might say, anything. So if you, like I said, if you can structure the deal that way, then do so. It's always good to do so without hurting your pocket, but helping them also. You might say, hey, I can help you with this, or you might be able to help them with all of it, but anyway, if you can do it and structure it that way, and you should always look at deals where that just in case they need this, I can do up to this much for them. But if they don't ask, then they don't ask. I mean, if after you ask, they don't need that type of assistance, then hey, all the better. But if they do, at least you would have analyzed it to the point where, okay, if they do need this type of assistance, I could do up to this amount. And there you go. And step 5, the last step, is the follow-up. Follow up. In case your offer isn't accepted initially, then you should have already asked these 2 questions. 1, when is the deposit due, the seller deposit due? And 2, excuse me, when is well, anyway, when is the deposit due? Excuse me for saying when it's the seller deposit due. Just when is the deposit due? Okay, for the other buyer, actually. Okay, and also when are buyer contingencies set to be removed? Those 2 dates you have to ask the agent. Okay, and I think this is a wrap. All right, and I am on live. It took me 33 minutes again to do this, and thank you for joining me. Or if you come after I go off live, because I'm about to hit this end stream button now, just let me know what you think, honestly. If there's anything that you don't understand, ask me to explain it, please. So I'll explain it to you, and so I'll do better next time. All right. God bless you all, and see you next time.